Hello, welcome to Me and Her After Kids. I'm me, and hers over there, she don't want to be on camera. I'm here with MikenRickoutdoors. It's time to do my 6-month review on that Palomino 1240 SS. Y'all come on, this is gonna be good. First off, I'm gonna start with this truck. This is the 1-ton Dodge. You don't have to have that for this little bitty slide-in camper. I had it because I had a 5th wheel, decided to go ahead and keep it. There's no reason to downsize. But this model of camper right here will actually fit on anything. They had to do a little bit of altering to it, and I'll show you about it. First, right off the bat, electric jacks are a must. There's no reason to sit here and hand crank or have to put your DeWalt on there or anything like that. Electric jacks are a 100% must. And on the pop-ups, the electric pop-up, again, I would not want to do it a hand crank. I'm too old to do that. I'm going to spend the money and I'm going to get it right.
Hey Jerry, real quick question. And that is, so you don't have, or you have the back jack down, but not this one. So why do you use, in this case, you're not using this one? What's the reasoning for that?
Well, a lot of people don't even use them when they're out camping like this. I do. I put the back ones down for stability. And I just don't like the rocking motion, just like you would on a regular trailer. It's pretty much just for support. With the backs being down, it stables this thing real good. It doesn't move at all, so that's why I use them. What holds this camper on is these anchors. Now, I was real iffy about them in the beginning because they're on a tension spring, and being it's my first truck camper, I was really apprehensive about taking this down the road at 70 miles an hour, but I've driven this thing across the country and it doesn't move at all. They've got some better ones out. These are all hand cranks. Every time I have to take it off, I have to loosen the jam nut, I have to crank it off, I have to take everything out. What these call fast guns, but they're about $500 for 4 of them. So I can hand crank a whole bunch for $500, that's for sure. What fast guns do is it makes it where you don't have to tighten this up by hand or loosen it, and they're already preset. It's almost like a come along, and you just tighten them down right there and it's already to your set. But moving on, just some of the features about this camper is, this is where all your electric jacks plug in. It has the battery disconnect right here, and this is what I really like about it. I get some alligator clips. I hook my solar panels up to them, recharges my battery when I'm out here dry camping. This is where I connect to the city water. This is where I fill my tank. Gray water. I kind of rigged this up to just go into a 6-gallon bucket because Park Services don't like you just letting it go out on the ground, so
it is appropriate that you have a gray container.
A gray container for gray water, that's right. One thing that I didn't like about this is these little compartments right here are hollow. And
so why?
Well, I struggled to figure out why they were, but after reading about it and looking at it, I've got a dually. If you had a long straight bed, then that actually goes up inside of here. And since this is a 6'6" bed, if I had an 8-foot bed in a dually, this wouldn't fit on there. Just built a nice little cubby for my black water hoses and everything on the other side. That way I don't have to store them on the inside, so you don't have that smell and you don't have to have that cleanup every time.
So what's the propane? How big is that propane tank there?
It's a normal propane tank.
Okay. You can't put a 20-pounder or a 40-pounder
No, not on one of these. Now, if you had one of the bigger campers, the one that drops down and big, yeah, they've got enough room for that, but we don't need anything. I've had this now for 6 months. This thing is still full, and we use this every weekend just about.
Yeah, so you've had it 6 months and not refilled it?
Not refilled it yet.
Wow.
Because we cook everything outside. We don't cook everything inside.
So
now,
is it only the stove that runs off that?
It's a stove and the heater.
Okay.
We have electric heater in there that we run off the generator that keeps it nice and warm. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But being a camper in the back of the truck, you're still limited for space. So that's why we have to utilize everything. That's why I have my mosquito repellents in here. I just try to use every spot imaginable.
So this might be one of your criticisms, is storage space.
Oh, well, that's going to be on every camper. I mean,
Do you have the ability to put stuff up on top even though it's a pop-up?
you can, but then you'd have to attach a ladder to the outside. Then it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not even going to do all that.
What about putting things in between your camper and the truck bed? Is that even a possibility?
We've thought
Maybe
about
it's
it.
a
We've thought
tarp
about
or
being able to
something?
take our 5-gallon fuel cells and stick them in here and slide them in and finding some way to strap them in. We just haven't explored that 100% yet. I mean, but there is room in there.
Do you carry stuff in the cab of your truck also? Or do you,
It stays full.
Really? Okay.
That's where our clothes go. That's where the dog stuff goes. That's where everything, our food and everything like that. Because we don't want to pop it up when we're coming out here. Put everything in it, pop it back down, drive all the way out here, pop it back up, reorganize everything. It's just easier to throw everything in the truck. And what we keep in the camper is our every time use camping gear. We decided on the pop-up over the hard side just for the space on the inside. We looked at several different models, different brands, but the pop-up is so open in there, it just gives you that feeling that you're not closed in. This one here, we liked it because it was high. We can put our extension in. We can pull a little trailer behind us, with our ATVs or side-by-sides, and we can still do other things. We can put a boat behind it, jet ski. We can do whatever we want to do. That's why this was one of our best purchases we've ever done. I was real sketchy about these steps when I first got it because I weigh 220 pounds. And I didn't know how these little accordion steps were going to work on me. But I've carried a lot of stuff up these steps. It comes undone with these 2 little pins, folds up, and I just stick it right in there for whenever we're traveling. How's a place to put your backup camera? Because your tailgate's down, you don't have a backup camera anymore, and you can't see behind. This is just a huge block sitting behind you. So we haven't put the backup camera there just because they're $800, and I don't see any reason for them unless I'm in Walmart parking lot. We chose to get the option to get this awning on here, and we've only ever used it one time. I wouldn't recommend it. That's $900 attachment. It comes out to about right here, offers absolutely nothing. It's better off just to get one of them pop-up tents and just haul that around. A whole lot cheaper than that.
Well, the only thing about the pop-up tent, though, then you've got to pack it.
Oh yeah.
So if can you get different size awnings that would come out farther?
Sure. You can get one that comes out 10 foot. You can also get one that goes around right here that comes out this way, but I've always figured I was going to hit my head, so I just didn't even try that option. This is what I talked about earlier. The other side was completely open. I boxed this in with wood, painted black. No one ever sees it. And that's where I put all my Blackwater stuff.
Are you going to do that to the other side?
Yes, and that's where I want to put all my electrical stuff.
All right, so we're going to go inside.
Yeah, let's go inside.
And tell me about hitting your head when you walk in this. Because this is one of the critical critiques you might have.
We were down in Austin, Texas when we got fitted for this, and they had this on my truck. They said, come on in, check it out, and give us a walkthrough. I cracked my head right there so hard that it took me to my knees, and I lost everything about every religion I ever had. I called everybody in that whole place some bad names, and I even threatened to burn the whole place down. So that right there will hurt you bad.
But you still bought it.
But I still bought it because that was my fault, not theirs. Come on in here. I'll show you what we've kind of done different. So first off, you can see the openness.
Talk about the height real quick.
Okay.
Because you're standing on something. You're 6'3".
Yeah.
Talk about the height first, because that's important to a lot of people.
Well, again, I was skeptical about the pop-up because I was afraid of the height because of previous experiences with the other trailers. But walking in here for the very first time, even though my head hurt at that time, I was just instantly in love with how high this was. I can stand up on this little platform right here. I don't have to dodge around anything. It's exactly how high it is. I was also worried about the height right here. Am I gonna feel like I'm sleeping in a coffin or not? But actually, I mean, this is 2 feet high. When you lay there, it's great. You got plenty of room. The wife is able to sit up without hardly even ducking her head. Now me, yeah, there's some little things about it that I really don't like. This little knob right here. Right in the middle of the night when you got to get up to go pee, that little knob is your worst enemy in the world. And then right after you hit that and you start sliding off here, right here is what you hit. So once you get to know it, you can actually kind of avoid those little instances like that. Oh, this is a queen size bed. And you can see the height right here. I mean, it's just awesome. I mean, you're not going to do jumping jacks in here, and you're not going to do somersaults or anything like that, but it's plenty of room. Feet don't hang off the bed. The only kicker is you got to make sure your truck's level, because sometimes you'll sleep this way, sometimes you'll sleep that way. So we bought extra blocks that we can put underneath the tires. But getting down is kind of a trick for me. For her, it's a little bit trickier because she has short legs. But that's it. Now she'll dangle right here and have to use braces and all that to get down, but for us, for me, it's just fine. Now, if you had a hard side, all this would be closed in. And you would hit your head on these cabinets right here. You've got cabinets over here. Yes, you got more space, but I wanted this because I get to choose where I put my cabinets. We use this one for our little pantry. And yes, when you bring this down, I do have to unhook this and I'll put it over here on this bench, but it zips up. Everything stays secure in there. This one we use for odds and ends like paper plates, silverware, stuff like that. And then this is my closet. Every time I get in here, I just unpack my backpack, throw all my stuff up there, boom, we're good. And then she uses these foot lockers. Each side has these foot lockers. Really not a big fan about the knobs, but I've learned to avoid them. But they're deep, they run all the way through, so she uses those as her closet.
What about those two?
We just have just odds and ends of food just stored in here. The refrigerator is pretty good size for a truck camper, and it runs off propane or AC. Has an automatic changer on it. What's neat about it is I've had propane refrigerators before, and it takes them 3 or 4 days to ever get cold. This one gets cold within a matter of about 6 hours on propane. AC, 2 hours. So works out real good. This cute little stove here, we've only used maybe twice because we do all the cooking outside. There's just not enough room here to prep, so the only time we would use that is just in case it's raining or anything and we're hungry and we want to fix some ramen noodles or something like that. The sink is small, well, of course, because this is a small camper. It's hard to do dishes in here. You can see that on one of my reviews when I first got the camper. We stayed a week up in Lake Texoma, and I kind of did the odds and ends on that, and I learned 5 things about it, and one of them is this ain't the place to do your dishes. That's why we always carry an extra jug of water outside in a dish pan. We do everything out there. Being that we're here at dry camper right now, we're running off of our freshwater tank and off the pump. Great pressure, and that goes into that gray 6-gallon can outside.
How much storage do you have in your freshwater tank?
I've got 20 gallons fresh water and 5 gallons black water. And you're saying 5 gallons black water, I'll use that in 6 hours. No, not really. If we stay more than 3 days and I have an external black water tank that's on wheels, so I'll put that black water tank on one of those carriers that you can slide right into your truck hitch right there, and then I'll strap it down to that. Then I'll just run the hose from the black water here straight into that. But if you're conservative, this will last you 3 days, especially if you're a dude and you can walk outside in the dark. Woman, I understand, but that's the way it is. But I've done some altercations to this. These were screwed down. I didn't like that. I needed more space, so I just added this to where we can put our dish stuff in here and our cleaning stuff in here. This had a double or a folding door that you had to stand right here. You folded it and it opened up to right here to give you a little bit of privacy. I took that off because it was too closed in. As big as I am, trying to get in here and try to move around, I was always hitting that door. It had a latch right here in the middle to keep the bifold in. I took it off. We've been married 33 years. There's no more secrets. So, but just for privacy's sake, we do have a little privacy curtain. Or if we know it's going to be a bad one,
Are you talking about the weather?
yes. Okay. Yeah. We'll ask our significant other to step outside for just a few minutes. Hence, the Febreze air spray.
Yeah, she might have to step out for a half hour.
Well, as open as this is, I mean, all you got to do is turn a fan on. It sucks everything right back out. It comes with 2 different exhaust fans. This one right here is just a simple on and off. You can open up the sunlight, and then one above the bed. This one above the bed, you can actually has 4 different settings. I like a little noise at night, so I turn it on 4. And then when it's halfway cool, I take these, I only unzip one corner, and it really pulls the air through right across me and keeps me for a real nice cool night.
I think this is a good time before we get back to the bathroom area here. I've been wondering about this. How does it work? You know, summer seems fine. I mean, you can get warm, you know, a little bit warm, but in the winter, you know, we were talking about this before, and you were saying there was no issues at all. I mean, this is some, you know, it's not.
It's canvas.
Yeah, it's canvas.
That's all it is.
But you said it wasn't a problem. You said you guys stayed nice and warm. Isn't that what you said when we talked?
Yeah,
about
when we picked this up in Austin, it was in end of December, and it was -9 degrees, and we camped in it that night because we didn't want to drive all the way back. And this is what we used. This little electric heater right here, I stuck it down here in the floor, kept this thing toasty warm. Matter of fact, I kicked the covers off of me. We were hooked up to normal hookup, so we had power. And if we didn't, then I'll be running off that propane bottle with this thermostat, and here's the heater right here.
All right, so that's what you're saying. If it was really cold, and then maybe that one's gonna put out more heat.
That'll put out a lot more heat. That one will run you out of here within 5 minutes. I don't care how cold it is. But heat rises. You're going to be right here. You're going to be sweating.
Yeah, right.
And I've experienced that. So that's why I turn that thing off, keep this little heater right there. And then at nighttime when it's ready to go, I stick it right here and it oscillates and it blows the heat up through here. Man, we sleep nice and comfy. Now then, saying that, we do have an electric blanket in here. So and it's underneath. And when we're plugged in and it's cold, we do turn the electric blanket on.
All right, so we're going to come back over here, finish up with your bathroom. Now, there's no shower here, right? It's just
no shower. We actually looked, the one model up has the shower in it. And I have a problem with the bathroom shower combos. That's my personal preference. I just don't like, every time I want to take a shower, I have to store my toilet paper or put my towels somewhere else. And the one that had the shower, it didn't have all these cabinets right here. This was all one shower unit. And again, you just had just the curtain that went straight around. The reason why we didn't do that, because we're not out for weeks and weeks at a time. If we're out more than 4 or 5 days, then we're going to stay at a place that has a shower. What we do right now is very simple. Body wipes. These things are bigger, just like the butt wipes that you always get, but these are a lot bigger. And so we take a hooker bath every night. Strip down, wipe yourselves off with about 2 of them. Man, it's just like getting out of the shower. You don't have to worry about hot water. You don't running out. You don't have to worry about filling up your tanks. You don't have to worry about draining your fresh water. All that's done by those wipes. This is something that we added. This is where we keep all of our toiletries and stuff. And because all these shelves right here got full of towels and just miscellaneous. And so we added that to keep all her stuff in, my travel bag, and just little accessories here and there. And it works out real good. And yes, when this pops down, I have to take this off and hang it over the toilet. It works out real good.
So did you go over everything that's right behind you that you're leaning your hand on?
Oh, this right here?
Yeah.
Well, when we are hooked up or the generator's running, we run the Keurig. And then this is an ice maker. Like I had the generator running this morning to recharge the Jackery and some other things. And I went ahead and added water to this, and we made enough ice for the rest of the weekend.
So it's electrical.
Mm-hmm. These are all 110.
Oh, your generator. Okay.
When I'm running my generator, I'll run this, and I'll run the ice maker, and I'll run the Carrick.
Okay.
Because I'm already burning fuel. I might as well go ahead and utilize it. But this area right here is where this table right here goes. It's got we got it here. We store it here because we don't ever eat in here unless it's raining outside. So this storage underneath that holds our pipe. But when you put the table here, it really brings down the space. And
how far does that table come out to?
Oh, just right here.
You can still slide by.
You can slide by it, but I have to do it sideways. So I just don't like it there. It's just no reason to have it. It just collect more junk. So we just store it away, and if we ever need it, it's just a 30-second put it right up. So
one thing I can see about this already, you have so many windows that even on a hot day, we're up to 80, 85 today here. I think in Colorado Springs it might be 95. But it seems like it really lets the air through real well.
It does. It's especially when you're up there on the bed at night and the wind's blowing through, you get a crosswind. It's just amazing. Now, one of the downsides of that is privacy. So if I'm in here changing and someone's over there at a little bit higher elevation, they can see right in, especially at night. So we have to actually just drop our little privacy screens if we want to. And then especially, when we start going to bed, and then it's just real easy just to roll back up and get that cross breeze again. Oh yeah, just in case, because I'm a Texas guy, I keep my bear spray right by the door because we are in bear country.
Have you ever used one?
No, never have. And the first time we brought it out, they said they had bear sightings real close, and this had a zip tie around it. And I brought it out, and the wife said, "We're gonna die. You don't even know how to use that." And I'm like, "No, I really don't." But anyway, it's there just in case. They say we ain't got to worry about bears. It's more the mountain lions, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But you see where I put my tackle box and everything stores away real nice.
What would you recommend for either changes you can make yourself or that the company, what's the name of the company?
Palomino. Well, it's made by Forest River.
Yeah, so if they would take some recommendations from you, what would you recommend that be done, or that other people that you could do it yourself, things you can, make modifications?
First off, a little bit bigger sink where you can actually put a plate in there and wash it. Another thing is make this where it's storage underneath, because there's a fender well right there, and if they box that off, you could have two real nice storage units right there. This is a pretty cool camper, man. I mean, this is, I can tell you right now, out of all the campers I've ever bought, and I bought a bunch of them, this is probably my best purchase I've ever done.
So you've had hard shells campers then?
Yeah, I've had the trailers, the fifth wheels. Yes, it's small. There's a lot of people, when they come over, we'll pull into a campsite, and it'll always perk the interest of somebody, and they'll come want to look in it. And always the wife. It's always the wife that says, "That's too small for me. I couldn't do that." But you're not getting out to sit in your camper. If that's the case, you would just stay at the house. This is just some place for us to sleep and to store our stuff in case it rains. We stay outside. We hike, we bike, we fish, we hunt. This right here gives us the mobility to do whatever we want to do.
Yeah, because it seems like, for me, I've got some Kodiak canvas tents, and they stay real warm in the winter. Well, if you have a heat source inside.
Right.
But you have to set them up and take them down. And so this is a lot more convenience, but you can pull up. I know you got to raise the top, but basically you're set and ready to go. It's a lot more convenient, right?
It's not as convenient as a hard shell truck camper, because you do, as a matter of fact, I just did a video on that, on my setup process, and I got a phone call from my brother, said that he was tired after 5 minutes of watching my video. But we do bring a lot of stuff with us, because we do a lot of different things, and we're not just a set up and sit kind of people. But you do have to walk around it, you do have to unlatch it, and then you got to push a button and watch it come up. And then you got to go back around and pull the little skirting down, that's just in case it does rain, so nothing gets in. Make sure all your zippers are good. The takedown's a little bit more, say, strenuous, because as it's coming down, you don't want this to be pinched with the roof. So you got to bring it down to about 6-8 inches. We'll go around, tuck everything in, and then bring it the rest way down and clamp it down. And that's pretty much it. Then you drive off. Why don't we head back outside and we'll wrap all this up. Watch your head.
So real quick, what campground are we at?
We're at South Meadows Campground. We're just about 20 miles west of Montua Springs. It's real nice. It's a very spacious campground.
All right, so we're back outside and the women are walking away. They, for some reason, just don't want to be in the video. I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, she's going to show her the camper now.
All right, so she's going to want one. Because I want to ask and like really drill into why, you know, go with something like this or a hard shell, or should I go with a toy hauler? Can you like go through your rationale, your thought process and what you've done in your life?
I've spent a lot of money figuring out what I want, you know, and again, it goes all the way down to personal preference. That's 100% of what it is. And you don't know what you need until you waste the money and buy something you don't need. And hopefully some of this insight that I give will kind of give some ideas on maybe what you're looking for. We looked at the toy haulers. I don't like the toy haulers because you lose so much space on the inside. You have the smell of your oil in there. You have your dirt.
Even with the door, you still have smell?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it still permeates in there. It just stays in there, especially if you have your gas additives and things like that. Plus the insurance on a toy hauler is so much more because you do have extra tanks that they have. And so the insurance companies will make that just almost outrageous. So we didn't ever go with a toy hauler because we wanted the space. We didn't want a garage where we're sleeping, and that's pretty much what it is. You pull right up into your kitchen, you might say.
So if you don't have a toy hauler, I've seen people do this, but I would never want to tow a trailer and another trailer. So it seems to me, at least in my case, I would, if I want an ATV, then I'm gonna have to go with a truck camper of some sort and a trailer for the ATV.
Yeah, you have all kinds of options there. We went with the actual slide-in the bed camper versus the one that sits on top of the rack that folds out and over that you see on all those dispersed camping sites. Because my knees are old, I am old, and I pee frequently. So I don't want to climb up and down those stairs.
So you don't drink a lot of water at night?
Well, I try not to, but it still happens. You know, after you get over 50, it's pretty frequent. But my personal preference was this truck camper. You know, we've had the fifth wheels that really put us in some binds. If we didn't really do our research on some of these campsites and stuff, and we'd get down into one, I couldn't back out. I couldn't make the turns. It was just too big. But when we go on longer vacations, more than just a couple of days, we'll actually take the camper off. Like I said, it takes about 10 minutes. It's all electric. Just hit a button, comes right off, drop it down close to the ground, and then we got our truck to go sightseeing and doing whatever we want to go do.
One of them I really like, and the host, but you know, it's $100,000, and it's you know, the weight and how big it is. You know, it's got the slide out on the back on each side, and then you walk inside, you're like, oh man, I got all the comforts.
Got a fireplace, got it, got all that stuff.
But then it's like, okay, the cost, number one, and if I want to get up to some places where Mike and we're going next year, we're going up to Canada for a month. You just here in the mountain region in the U.S., I mean, there are so many places where that host wouldn't go.
Look at your height. I mean, you can't get underneath any trees. That one right there, I mean, I'm barely over 10 foot, you know, when it's all the way popped down, and that's to the top of the AC unit. Yeah. And I don't ever have to worry about that. You know, I still watch trees when I'm going on the forest roads.
So I don't want to make fun of anybody, but if you want all the comforts of home and having all the luxury and the really nice wood floors and the cabinetry, and you want to walk in like you're walking into your condo at the end of the day, well, you're going to be stuck. I'm going to throw out a number, but you may be stuck at 10-20% of maybe all the campsites, and there's 80+% of the places that you could go with something like yours, and you wouldn't be able to get with that host.
Well, that's exactly what we did right before we bought this one. We bought that 40-foot fifth wheel, $120,000 fifth wheel, all the comforts of home. I mean, it was just beautiful. I've never had anything. I mean, even my house wasn't that pretty. You pop it all open, it's a little over 700 square foot. It sits right now because it's just too hard to move around. I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot, but it was just the inconvenience of trying to find fuel. I would have to I'd have to disconnect it, go to town, get some fuel, especially if I was in a small town. I'd always have to Google Maps every route I was going, check all the overpasses, make sure I had my clearance, and make sure I only went through the truck routes. And I decided after, we used it a few times, I pulled it all over Texas, pulled it into Oklahoma, and I said, I'm done with this. It's just too hard to do. It's too much of a pain. You're white knuckling the whole time. You know, it's jerking and moving around. You got big winds coming. It's just, this right here, that's another reason why we went with the pop-up, is because I'm not top heavy. I don't swivel any at all. We went through a sandstorm in Dalhart, and we were completely blind. We couldn't even see in front of us, and that truck never moved.
So that's another question though, is when you're driving and you got all that wind hitting those much bigger truck campers, or even in the trailers. Yeah. I mean, all these trailers they're angled front, but that seems like it was going to cut through, have a lot less wind resistance when you're driving. And I mean, it's got to help your gas mileage at least a little. Well,
that's another reason number 500 is why we went with the pop-up, is it's not sitting so high in the air and doing that drag, but it still knocks down my fuel mileage quite a bit. You know, normally I get 21, 22 miles a gallon in that truck, and then it drops it down to right around the 14, 15 mark.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a diesel?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just nature of the beast.
Wow.
And you know, when I pulled my fifth wheel, I was getting 9 to 7.
Really?
I mean, and that was pulling it at 60, 65 miles an hour.
You know, you're talking about your history. Is there anything you want to add for, not just for me, but other people who are really thinking about these different types of RVs that you may want to consider?
If there's any way to go rent one, if you can find a rental place and go rent one for the weekend, and that's one thing that I wished I'd have done 2 or 3 campers ago. Just go rent it for the weekend and go see if you're going to like it. See if your truck's going to actually be able to pull it. And it goes all the way back to, again, just it's a preference thing. What are you going to be doing mostly? Where are you going? And how are you going to get there? And do I want something sticking, 13.6 in the air, so heavy that I can't even make it up the mountain? Or do I want something more mobile? But you can right now go ask those people on that campsite right over there the same questions, and you're going to get completely different answers. It's all about preference, and it's all about their experience on where they've been.
But one of the best things to do if you can't rent is to then go talk to people like yourself.
Yeah, but you're going to get different answers on every single person.
But that's for me. I think I'm more like you get out a lot. Now you go to campgrounds like this where I want to get out and just be. There's no campground. There might be a fire pit, and the next person is 200-300 yards away.
Well, that's all I would bring then. I wouldn't even. I'd bring that with my small trailer and my little 4-wheeler on it. That's all I would do.
But for me, having somebody like you to talk to that has the same ideas about camping and how you get out, that's probably the most important. Get somebody that's been around and tried a few things, and rather than you go spending money and figuring it out yourself.
But then you got to watch out when you talk to people too. They may have had a bad experience with a different manufacturer pop up, and they're going to say those are pieces of trash. No, don't ever invest in one. They're just crap. Well, maybe they didn't take care of it right. Maybe they had a malfunction. Maybe it was a lemon. You just never know. Campers are campers. They're going to build them the cheapest way they can, the lightest way they can. They're not made to live in. They are going to break. They do take maintenance and a lot of maintenance. The trim will fall off. If you store it outside, not plugged in, then your refrigerator is going to mold, or the siding on the inside is going to start bubbling. Things like that are going to happen because they are cheaply made. As far as expense goes, I've seen truck campers like that go for $300,000.
Really? I thought a host at about 100 was a lot.
Well, that's a lot, but I mean, you can get some of them rugged, hard shell outdoors that's indestructible. And I just saw an ad on one this morning.
Yeah, basically a tank.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. A buddy of mine at work, he actually imported one from Australia, and it's amazing. But he spent 6 times what I paid on that one.
Wow. All right.
But it's rugged.
Yeah. A lot to think about. All right. Well, thanks for showing me your truck camper.
Oh, thanks for being interested. That was fun. I enjoyed talking about it. I love that camper. Matter of fact, it brings people every time I come to a campground. Somebody comes over and looks at it every time.
Well, maybe my wife liked it. So watch, we'll go back. She was like, I want that big old host.
Yeah, she's gonna say that was too small. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Most women do. That's okay though. My wife says it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, that was my 6-month review on that. I couldn't be happier. I know if you go on there and you do your own research, you're gonna find there's some bad reviews on the electric jacks that take the pop-up up. And I've preached this over and over. If you take care of your equipment won't let you down. And hey, while you're at it, before you leave, head on over to Mike and Rick Outdoors. Man, they got a lot of information. They go all over the place, not just Colorado like we do now. And they do everything from fishing to hunting to you name it, to hiking. They just do it all. Go check them out. Give them a like and subscribe and ring that bell. Do it for me if you don't mind. And remember, always leave it like you found it. See you down the road.